Hello, I'm Nadia Bilchik, and I am thrilled this morning to be joined by Robyn Spizman. She is a New York Times best-selling author, dozens of books. She's also a consumer advocate and television personality, and her latest book is Loving Out Loud, The Power of a Kind Word. So Robyn, what a pleasure to have you here in my virtual world.
I love it, Nadia. You know I'm a big fan for many years. So it's very appropriate to be amongst a friend. And thank you for this attention this morning for my new book.
So, we are living, and you've said it in all your media interviews, in a particularly divisive time in America. And there is so much contention and so much resentment. So I think this book is more pertinent than it's ever been. So let's start from the beginning. What prompted you to write Loving Out Loud, The Power of a Kind Word?
Well, it couldn't be more timely than ever. You're right, Nadia, but I wrote this book over a year ago as a result of two things. One was grief and one was love. And I'll begin with the grief. I had just recently lost both of my parents, who I adored with all my heart. And it was very difficult to understand, why we cry. Why did we, why could I wake up every morning and just the depth of my grief was missing them. And I thought about it, and I thought my entire life, how blessed I was to have my parents who loved me out loud, who reassured me, who made me feel safe. And I thought, now that's a blessing. And as I would cry, I asked the rabbi, why do we cry? And he said, we cry because we give a profound voice to something that was very meaningful to us. So as I started to understand that more, I started focusing on the good things and the good times, and Loving Out Loud became kind of a place where I would spill love back into others, because I received so much. It just made so much sense to me. And then I had the very amazing joy of remarrying, and tomorrow's our 8th anniversary, which is lovely. And
congratulations!
Thank you. And I married a man of a few words, and then here I am, a woman of a lot of words. So Loving Out Loud became also a journey to understand how we each express love in so many different amazing, wonderful ways. And those that are quiet, they do it in a beautiful manner. But on Valentine's Day, he said, what would you like for Valentine's Day? And I thought about it, and I thought, how about every morning when I wake up, you just say something nice that makes my day, that loves me out loud? And he said, what about Good Morning Beautiful? And ever since, 8 years now, there's a little piece of paper, and there's one right over there, and it says GMB, or he'll text me at 4 o'clock in the afternoon if he forgot GMB. And so you develop languages of love throughout your life. But Loving Out Loud can really enhance it and mean so much to those that you share your love to.
And that's what I loved about the book, Robyn. I love that you speak about the importance of a kind word, but you also give some tangible, hardcore examples. So here we are dealing with an environment where there is so much resentment. What is some of your advice or guidance? What can you say to somebody who's serving you, or somebody who is the teller, or just how do we in our day-to-day lives, and I'd like to talk about it both in terms of family, but also to just people who we encounter?
Well, the first thing to do is to have that awareness, Nadia, and you have it. You love out loud in your interviews. You help businesses love out loud, which creates more customers, more effective networking. I mean, you live the principle innately. But when it comes to the ways we can do this, for example, when you have a delivery service and you're texting back and forth and they're going into a grocery or getting you an item, I always write nice things. Like if someone even picked out the right brand and took the time in that moment to serve me, I think about customer service and the word service to a customer, and I think service to each other. So when we provide service, I want them to know this little thing you just did is like big on my book, because now I can make that recipe, or my family will enjoy that certain thing we all like. So I say thank you. I write words like great job, and it's little, but it's big. I do have the teddy bear in my window, which says to those that it's a bear hug, if you will. And it says that, there's a lot of love in this household. So I think it's about how do we stop and think about the tone of our voice, even when you're on customer service, your TV has gone out or something's not working, are you kind? Because you'll attract more, what do they say, bees with honey. It's really the truth. Your tone of voice and the manner in which we speak to our children, if we're rushing them and hurrying everyone up, and that tone is loving out loud. That
One
voice
thing
of
you've
yours.
addressed, and I think it's important, is the pessimists out there, and you speak about this. What advice or guidance do you have to people who go, I'm cynical about this?
Well, I will tell you this. It's loving out loud is a habit. And if you don't practice it, you can easily fall into what's wrong with the world, and a lot is. But if you start looking at what's right and the manner in which we share so much negative news right now, our spirit, our soul needs positive information. We need to hear things are going to be okay. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's complicated. And yes, it is extremely difficult for us all to come together. But that doesn't mean you can't be the person that spreads a little hope and faith. And you can't be an example of the best version of yourself. In fact, I was so grateful to you as you read my book and you endorsed it. And you said, thank you, Robyn, for inspiring us to be the best version of ourselves. And that's really what this is about. We all know the little person, that roommate, that voice in your head is telling you maybe what you should do or wished you would be more like. The difference is putting it into action, and that is love. Love is a verb. And when we love out loud, we put our best selves into action. We pay tribute to those who came before us that we love, the memory of someone we wish to be more like, a friend who really wows us and is there for us. Pay it forward, pass it on, share it. That's what this book is really about. And it's a reminder, a gentle reminder to be your best self.
I love what you said about your husband saying something really nice every day. We forget to do that. And if you look at the toxicity that exists and how relationships spiral downwards. So the other thing you speak about is strengthen your relationships by doing this. I'd love to hear you share more about that.
Nadia, I thought about this in the very beginning. My daughter just went through a rare cancer and is in remission. We spent 6, 7 months in and out of the Northside Hospital, and how blessed are we? And I really think that deepening relationships, she and I had amazing quality time, but right now so many individuals are in hospitals without family, without others that can, and the nurses and the frontline heroes are so important. But to strengthen the manner in which we speak to each other, instead of a rapid fire emoticons where I send you smiley faces and everything, I do that. I like it, but it's not a replacement for how do I appreciate you? How do I feel about you? Because when the rapid fire emoticons are gone, at the end of the day, what did we tell each other that we're going to remember? And I believe in no regrets. I tell my kids every day I love them. I tell them if I miss them. I tell them I'm going to be the mom. I'm going to give advice, and I'm going to do my best to respect their wishes and their own great thoughts. But I believe in living your feelings out loud in a thoughtful way.
I love that you say that, and you reinforce in the book on a daily basis. There's a famous saying in habits, you make your habits and your habits make you. And I think you so successfully remind us that we can create new neural pathways in the brain and new ways of being if we are consistent.
And they have said, even for memory and aging, one of the most important ways that we can revitalize and regenerate our brain cells is doing something kind, because the pleasure that comes from that, including being kind to oneself, which is self-care. So when you wake up in the morning, you want to have a good morning, but what do you do that's good in the morning? So I find that when I start out with a morning ritual, and I might be reading the coffee mug my dear friend Lori gave me that reminds me to slow down, not to hurry, trust the process. I think about little things that mean a lot, and I remind myself, I like reset my mind. And some days when we don't want to get out of bed and it's not such a great day and great things are not happening, how you affect one's thoughts, your own thoughts, affects those around you. So we become this ripple, and it's a powerful habit to practice. And I'm not going to say it's hard. This book is not about Pollyanna. It's not rose-colored glasses. It's really about how you can deepen your relationships, strengthen your bonds, and number one, hear yourself. How do you sound to others? Are you a dictator? Are you a drill sergeant? Are you able to tell someone the truth and do it in a way that helps them in a loving manner? That's a true friend, but we're very hesitant sometimes to say what we think and feel. We're embarrassed, we're worried, what will they think? So this book gives you ways. People have done this, hundreds,
And it's
experts.
such a great gift, this book. I mean, and you can get it on Amazon, right?
Can't.
But you made me think of two things. I love what you said, Robyn, little things that mean a lot. It's the little things. And when I read the book, I'm always reminded of a Chinese proverb says, you can pick the splinter out of your friend's eye, but do it gently.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just, the book is just it's a positive reinforcement. And I always say, we may know things, but a book like this helps us apply it. And I think, to your point, it's as important in our interpersonal relationships as it is in our professional relationships.
Nadia, you're excited about life, and yet you have family, you have your mom in South Africa, you have family all over the country, but you have built this family of community and you understand what that means. So I'm going to ask you, who loves you out loud?
Oh, I have to say, my husband is very good at being reassuring, and my daughters are warm and loving. They really are. By the way, Robyn, they're also good at criticizing out loud, right?
Yes,
As
yes.
only our children can do.
My mom, you can't wear that. You cannot wear
Right, exactly, our children. But I do love, people who are kind, but and what I also appreciate about the book is there's an authenticity around it. So yes, my children are reinforcing, but they can also say, Mom, when I've sent them the 17th motivational quote of the day or given them each a copy of Loving Out Loud, oh, that's what it's like having a motivational speaker for a mother. I'm sure your children appreciate you too, but only children, right, have the ability to love us and criticize us simultaneously.
That's correct. But they do it in a way that, listen, we've done it their entire lives. So I guess it's not payback time, but there's something to really be said for listening. And I think that what you do so well is listen, and you're interested in others. And that's a real secret of loving out loud, is if I am interesting, I'm talking about me, that's boring. There's only so much of that people can take, right? But when you're interested in someone else, you learn a lot, you deepen your bond. They find a commonality, a way to build a relationship. So the question right now, as we go through COVID-19, is: will we come out bitter or will we come out better? And every day I try to learn something new, so then I'll remember. There'll be a mindset of loving out loud. I love to bake, so I learn a new recipe. I bond with a friend who's teaching me how. I reach out to a neighbor who seems a little bit alone and just say, is there anything that we can do for you today? So I think this is it is the little things. It's the little itty bitty ways we spill joy. And I talk about this. If you have someone in your life who's very negative, when you call them, say to them, we're going to start our conversation by something that's right. And so you go first and I'll go second, and then I want to hear everything else. But you got to think about it, because we're going to make this fun. I think that's the key. Is loving out loud is not a chore for me. It's just a way to brighten someone's day and my own. I mean, the benefit is enormous.
Robyn, I love what you've said, and you said in the book, is that anyone can be interesting. It's very important to be interested. And given the volatility of what's been going on in Atlanta, last weekend I interviewed 3 friends of mine, 3 African-American women, talking about what, as white women, we can do in this particularly contentious period. And just the honoring of others. At the end of the conversation, everybody went, thank you for the interest. Because we can't profess to feel people's pain more than they feel it, but it just reinforces what you said, is that and you say it so well in the book, is that there are many ways to love out loud. Just having three friends on an interview and saying, what can we do in our community to shift the dialogue? And have them say afterwards, thank you for hearing us and sharing our message with your platform. And I think, just as you said, in a time when there is divisiveness and COVID-19 and the uncertainty, your book is just perfectly timely. I'm going to switch gears for one
Okay.
moment with Robyn Spizman. She has written dozens of books. The latest is Loving Out Loud, The Power of a Kind Word. And Robyn, and that is, you also write as a consumer advocate on gifting. And we're about to have Father's Day 2020. You have a full article in the Atlanta Jewish Times, correct?
Yes, I do.
So you can see the full list there. But if we're going to love out loud to the fathers in our lives, the father figures in our lives, what can we do?
Well, I first want you to shift that to-do list. A lot of people find gift giving to be a very hard task. I want you now to make it your to-love list. What does dad love? What do you love about dad? Uncles, fathers, a son, son-in-laws. What did they do? Well, first of all, they're the Uber dad. They're the dad of the year. So how do you thank them? Think about what they enjoy specifically. I do a little test, Nadia. I say, do you like milk chocolate, dark chocolate, white chocolate, or bittersweet chocolate? You just don't like chocolate. Do you like all four or one in particular? Once you know that about dad, a little bit of his likes and dislikes, and you could ask now, hey, dad, and ask, then you're going to learn in that one little exercise that dad's preferences are key. There are dads that don't want you to spend money, but they would love you to show him how you saved it. So find a good bargain. Like, think about gifting as a way to communicate, to love out loud. So a couple of the examples, if you have a patio daddy-o and the thrill of the grill is the thing that your dad or your husband enjoys. You interviewed Kirk Alpern of Farmers and Fishermen. Farmersandfishermen.com will deliver free delivery, no tipping, to your door, wonderful things to grill, wonderful, fabulous fresh food, fish, steak, seafood. So that's a way to say to dad, you love it, now we're going to make it the best of the best, dad, just for you. Another example, and of course, I love this one. It's called ecreamery.net. That's a ice cream where dad's photo and your photos are put on the pint and you customize the ice cream. I featured it on the Today Show one year, and then it is sent through the mail. So I loved it, chocolate chunk for my hunk. You can get very clever.
Say that again. It's chocolate chunk for my hunk.
In other
And
words,
that's
that
from
was the flavor.
eatcreamery.com.
Yes, ecreamery.net.
My husband would love the Farmers and Fishermen. If you said to him, I'm getting you steak, those wonderful Wagyu steaks, is
Yes,
that
yes,
correct? Or
Wagyu,
even the
right,
salmon?
right. Yes, exactly. And so there's so many different things that you can order and do for dad. But I think the most important thing is to think about starting a tradition. And maybe you say to dad, this year I'm going to write you everything I'm grateful for this year. And I promise you it's the gift that he won't grow out of. He will not discard. He will save it forever. But when you do that and you tell dad, what did he do right? What did he impress upon you? Something you learned from him. It took a while perhaps, but you did learn. That letter in your handwriting is going to be the greatest gift of all. I interviewed a grandfather who sent to his grandson on Father's Day. He wanted to tell his grandson how grateful he was to be a grandfather and what was grand about their relationship. Those 35 letters, when the grandfather passed, the son inherited, of course, he kept all the letters. And it was just a miraculous gift. So if we think about what will matter right now, are we really in a time when we can change lives, change habits? Are we going to be able to really make a difference for each other? It's going to come from gifts that speak, not gifts that give. Um, Gifts that say something. Do they say, I love the ground you walk on, Dad? You are a rock star in my heart. My little grandson said to me when I told him that when I see him, it makes my heart smile. And he said, Roro, that's my grandma name. How does your heart smile? You can't make a heart smile. And I said, just watch me.
Oh, I love it.
So it's just, that's what this book is about. And on Father's Day, if we think about photographs, you all have photographs, your iPhone everywhere. Chuck Wolf's photo design bar. There's so many ways. You can put it on a mug. You can put it on a your mouse pad. You know, the good old, well, if you still use one of these ancient little things, but
Yes.
yeah. But in the meantime, there's so many ways to say I love you. My daughter Allie stamped Poppy, who's turning one's little foot, and basically, you know, no one can fill your shoes. The message, and you have big shoes to fill, little Poppy, because you've got such great, you know, grandpas and fathers and stepfathers in your life. And I just think the idea is get creative, and don't forget that one favorite photo of you and Dad. Look for it, find it, give it back to him, and tell him why that photo tells a story of loving out loud.
Robyn Spizman. This has been an awesome conversation. She is a prolific author. There are lots of other books, but the latest is Loving Out Loud, The Power of a Kind Word. And thank you so much for great Father's Day gift ideas and for taking the time to share some love.
Nadia, you're a gift to us all. Have a great day.